Dan Illman, Mike Beer, it's the Grade 1 $1 million Jockey Club Gold Cup at Saratoga on Saturday. We're going the classic distance of 1.25 miles, and maybe we get a starter out of this race in the gate in the Breeders' Cup Classic during the fall. Before we take a look at the field, remember the Labor Day sale ongoing at shop.drf.com, up to 50% off PP's picks, Clocker reports, the digital paper, and more. Again, it's shop.drf.com. Here's the field for the prestigious Jockey Club Gold Cup. Mike, the number 4, Rattle and Roll, has been very consistent all year long. He's earned 5 triple-digit buyer speed figures from 5 starts, 3-time graded stakes winner, and he just missed last time out in the Stephen Foster. He's a likable horse. He likes distance, and he's 9-5 on the line.
Yeah, it's just more than anything else, especially considering the form that he's been in, Dan. It's just a really good Jockey Club Gold Cup for him to enter. This is not a vintage running of this race, to be sure. He's a really nice horse, the one Proxy, who will probably vie for favoritism here. He's a really nice horse. Neither one of them are standouts in this division, and it's not like they can't be had here, Dan, but they are the 2 right horses, I guess, when you're talking about the favorites.
Curious to see what our friends at Timeform US have to say about the pace of this race. On the Timeform US pace projector, they have Bright Future, the number 8, who was up close to a kind of moderate pace last time out when taking a second level allowance at Saratoga. I'm not sure he's a blazer. I don't know if he needs to get to the front. They do have Warrior Johnny up close. He has tactical speed, but I do think the 6 Tyson coming down from Woodbine, if he handles dirt's going to be forward. And Proxy just went gate to wire in the Monmouth Cup, and I think they like those tactics with him.
I agree with that. I mean, we'll see. There are some intangibles in play here as far as this pace projector goes. When I looked at the race, Dan, I thought that the 3 Warrior Johnny was going to be cutting the pace in this race. This horse has plenty of speed. They got to come out of there running as he moves up into a grade 1 here and stretches out to 10 furlongs. I just feel like they're going to go with this horse and try to make the run-in. Proxy can be up close. He's not a super fast horse, but he's got the rail. He should be able to secure position along the inside into that first turn.
If the pace is fast, note the LP flag over the chiclet of the number 5, Clapton. That indicates that Clapton has the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. Let's start things off with the number 1, Proxy, in his most recent victory in the Grade 3 Monmouth Cup. This is a horse who's been a little bit of an in and outer this year, Mike. He won the Grade 1 Clark last year. We know he has quality. And the Stephen Foster 2 starts back. Maybe he didn't have the greatest trip. He was sort of steadied on the first turn while on the rail, trying to make ground over a speed favoring track. I just didn't think he ran that day, however, and in this spot he got a great ride by Joel Rosario to go to the front. The winner, the runner-up, Wayland Springs, came back to win the Island, a Grade 3 with a 98 buyer.
Yeah, that horse is in really good form right now. He actually took a shot at Proxy around the final turn there, but Proxy was able to shrug him off and go on about his business there. I agree with your take on the Monmouth Cup last time, though, Dad. Great ride from Rosario, 2-5. He just took the running to that field, went right to the lead, and made them try to beat him, and they couldn't do it. It was a good performance. He also ran well 3 starts back in that Oaklawn handicap. He had some work to do in the stretch that day, and he just stayed. That's the one thing I like about him in this race, Dan, is he will stay the 10 furlongs. He's going to still be running at the end of this race, whether he's further back off the pace or right up close to it. That might give him a little bit of an advantage here.
Unbridled Bomber is the number 2. He's a thoroughly likable son of Upstart. He just has to prove that he's a stakes horse. He'll wallop allowance foes, whether it's the 2nd or 3rd level variety. Step him up into a stake, he usually finds 1 or 2 better, as he did last time out in the Suburban, where he faced Charge It and Clapton, and he couldn't get within hailing distance of the winner.
Yeah, he's just not a stakes horse. He's a really, really nice horse. I'm a big fan of Unbridled Bomber, and he's run a big race or 2 in the past. I mean, when he's got his mind on running, he's actually got some real talent, but so far, and it's not like they've only tried him in a couple of stakes, Dan. They did it a couple of times last year. They did it a couple of times earlier over the winter back at Aqueduct. The stakes races are just way too tough for this horse at this point. We'll see if it makes any difference now. The 1.25 miles to me doesn't seem like it helps him.
The number 3, Warrior Johnny, shipped up to Saratoga last year, and I was very impressed with his first level allowance win. He just smashed that field, and he did it from close to the pace, and maybe he'll get up close to the pace once again. He's been in deceptively good form, I think, his 2 races this form cycle. His first start off a long layoff, he was an easy winner, and last time out in the Hanshin, I know the winner of that race came back and bombed at Monmouth at a short price, But Warrior Johnny just might have been compromised. That race was won through a driving rainstorm. The odds-on favorite won. I think it was a good fitness tightener for him.
I agree with you. And it just sort of feels like, yeah, it just didn't work out for him last time because that was a real speed favoring track too. And this horse, he broke from the inside. He was down on the rail early. He got shut off and he lost position. And his rider just had to take him to the outside after that. And I just really feel like he was compromised by the trip that he pulled last time. I'm with you. I thought his return from the layoff was good. He was super impressive when he won up here last summer. And it felt like he was heading in the right direction at that time. Maybe he's ready to take the step forward now, Dan, and I'd like to see them get very aggressive with it from the gate in here.
And a couple of the other also-rans from that last race have come back and have done some good things. One earned a stakes placing on dirt at Ellis with a 91 buyer. Another was second in the Arlington Million on turf. Rattle and Roll is the number 4. This is a horse that started off his career like he might be something. He was a grade 1 wearer and an impressive one in the Breeders' Futurity down at Keeneland. It just didn't work out for him in the beginning of his 3-year-old campaign. But then Kenny McPeek started to find his spots, and I think it might have built this horse's confidence a little bit. And he's been fairly much of a dynamo as a 4-year-old. He's won 3 of his last 4 starts. Last time out on the Foster over that speed-friendly Ellis Park track, he finished way ahead of Proxy, and he was running at the end.
Yeah, he ran really well in that Foster last time. He progressed up the backstretch all on his own, but he wound up in behind horses around the final turn. And by the time he got clear, Westville Power was sort of gone on the lead in that race. This horse almost closed him down anyway. Maybe the best race he's ever run, Dan. His form overall is rock solid. He is not a total one-run closer, so I feel like if this pace is slow, it doesn't really have to affect him. I don't know, man. He's in great form right now, and I'm not way against him.
Yeah, his race last time out was sort of a mirror of the Ben Ali 4 starts back at Keeneland, where he was able to make up ground on the backstretch at the half-mile pole and then sustain that run all the way to the wire. It works for him at 1.25 miles, I believe. Clapton is the number 5, coming off a second-place finish in the Suburban, where he finished ahead of Unbridled Bomber. And Clapton won a graded stakes race 3 starts back. He ran an okay second behind Rattle and Roll in the Pimlico Special. And in here, Charge It at 3-5 just pretty much had things his own way. But Clapton never stopped trying. He seems to be improving at the right time.
I agree with that. I like this performance. He was never a threat to win this race, and he ultimately was just really no match for Charge It, but he still finished a good second. 2 back when he was in against Rattle and Roll. I thought he ran fine in there, but he was really no match for Rattle and Roll that day. He's in good form right now. Maybe he falls into a trip in this race. And I think just based on the race we just watched, Dan, you don't have to really worry about the 1.25 miles. But I do think he might need to catch a break or 2 to win this race.
The number 6 is Tyson. This is a very lightly raced son of Tappet. He's won 4 of 5 lifetime starts. He's never raced on dirt, only over the all-weather surfaces at Gulfstream at Woodbine. He's won 2 consecutive graded stakes races at Woodbine coming into this race. Here's his most recent effort in the Grade 2 Seagram Cup, where he got a great ride by Rafael Hernandez, who got him through fractions of 25-1, 49-4, and now Tyson lands the knockout punch by sprinting on home.
Yeah, it doesn't change leads in the stretch here. That's been a little bit of an issue for him, but he's staying very strongly, and he stays strongly in all of his races, Dan. He's good. He's obviously good just based on what he's been doing up there in mostly graded stakes races. It's obviously a big question here whether he's going to handle the dirt. If nothing else, and you never know till they try it, he's wicked bred to be a dirt horse. He's very closely related to Arcangelo. This is the female family of Rags to Riches and Jazzle. It's all distance, it's all dirt, and this horse can run.
And he has the tactical speed to be placed close to the pace. If the pace is slow, don't be surprised if he tries to sprint on home like he did last time out. Now, when you're based at Woodbine, like the 6 Tyson, the 7 Duke of Love, you're pretty much pigeonholed into running on turf and synthetic. Bad news for the 7 Duke of Love, who's run twice on dirt in his career, and he loves it. His first win was in the second jewel of the Canadian Triple Crown back in 2022. That was the Prince of Wales. Here's his most recent start, the West Virginia Governor's Cup, a grade 3 down at Mountaineer on West Virginia Derby Day. He looks like he's in hot water here. This is a decent horse, Shirley Furious coming at him. Duke of Love says, no way.
He's really game here to fight this challenger off. He's another one. He doesn't change leads in the stretch here, but he's still finding at the end. He's going to get the job done. Worth noting, he is 2 for 2 on dirt. They're both stakes races. They're also both wet tracks. And it kind of feels like he's not going to get a wet track on Saturday at Saratoga, but you never know up there. He's up in class for this race, but the figure that he just earned suggests that he's not far off some of these horses.
I was a little surprised that Todd Pletcher ran Bright Future in the Brooklyn 2 starts back, a horse that was still eligible for a non-winners of 3 life. When I talked to Todd, he said this horse is the kind of grinding, sort of maybe one-pace type horse that would appreciate the 1.5 miles. And it didn't work out for him that day. He was running against Nest, who's probably the best marathoner in the country. Bright Future does not have a glass jaw. He came right back and he won a second-level allowance at Saratoga. The Brooklyn didn't phase him at all. He got right up close to a moderate pace, and here is the staying power in the stretch. He's just too much for this field, and he pays $25.
Yeah, he's going to take over here past the 8th pole. Then he just keeps going at the end. He's actually going to put distance on some of these horses, and it's not a bad field either, Dan. I mean, the second and third finishers both have a little bit of quality. He just leaves them in the dust here. A career best performance, a triple-digit buyer speed figure. And Todd's going to stretch him right back out and step him right back up in class. And I'll tell you what, this is not a very strong Jockey Club Gold Cup. If this horse takes another step forward, he's a player.
Right, you took the words right out of my mouth. There are no Kelsos in this race. Bright Future off that last buyer speed figure, if you believe he can take a step forward, he's going to be right there at the wire, and he's going to be a decent price once again. Let's take a look at our top selections for the Jockey Club Gold Cup. You're going with Tyson, lightly raced, tons of upside, tactical speed, really sharp and underrated connections based up at Woodbine, and you've got a price.
Yeah, he should be a fair price in this race. I like the way he looks in his races, Dan. I think this horse can really run. And, as concerned as I am about him switching surfaces here, he's really bred to be a dirt horse. So I'm going to hope he handles it. For a trainer, doesn't ship down to Saratoga too often, but when she does, she brings the right horse. She's won big races at Saratoga before. I'm going to take this horse. I got Rattle and Roll in there because I really respect him. I'm a little afraid of the 3 Warrior Johnny. I think that horse is better than he looks on paper.
Well, I do respect Proxy. I do wonder if maybe the fans are going to go overboard on him a little bit, and that's why I kind of threw him out. I know what I'm going to get with Rattle and Roll, and that's going to be a triple-digit buyer speed figure. He's going to be running at the end of this race, and maybe his consistency is just what puts him over the top. I do think that Tyson's going to run well. I have him in there. You're going 6-4-3-1. I'm going 4-5-8-6. It's the Jockey Club Gold Cup, and we'll see if Rattle and Roll shakes his way to the Breeders' Cup Classic. Good luck.